was awful.
It was bad?
It was terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
George Thorogood? Terrible?
Yeah, it was not my favorite concert.
Oh, man. I love George Thorogood. That's so disappointing. All right. American made, George Thorogood. Our bump music for today. Hey, we had bump music last week, but unfortunately, I forgot to turn the microphone on. So thanks to all of you who are watching and then shut it off because you couldn't hear us and not notifying us. We went through and we're going to go back and just voice over everything we did like they do in the movies, right? I think for last week. That should be interesting in the studio.
Actually, that's a really good idea. We should send that in and have somebody do
Yeah, we could do
those football bloopers where they do that?
Yes.
They put like the girl's voice with Tom Brady.
Let's do that. Let's do that next. We'll do that and we'll post it, and then people can we'll do it for a prize. So they can take a clip if they want to go through that for a decent prize, and then they can have our conversation and make fun of us even more than they already do now.
I think that's a great idea.
All right, so this week we've got a very interesting and kind of a niche topic. It's citizenship programs. Oh, by the way, this is John Edwards, Castle and Cook Mortgage, and
NMLS number 671258.
Got you trained now. Jude Sandval, Dream Homes by Jude, and citizenship programs and rules for purchasing a home in the U.S. So, John, with Denver becoming this cosmopolitan place now, where we've got all kinds of people moving in.
A bit of a melting pot, if you will.
Yeah, it's becoming a big city. So naturally, we're getting a lot of foreign investment. A lot of people looking to not only invest commercially here, but also purchase residential properties too.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different from both the real estate purchase perspective from a real estate agent, but also particularly from the mortgage lending perspective.
Yeah, it's a question we get a lot, and more so lately, it seems like. So I had another agent in your office come and ask me about some programs and wanted to do a presentation. So I put this together and thought it'd be a good topic for the webinar today. Really just talking about if you're not a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, what options are out there for you to still purchase a home here in the United States, and what we can try to help here at Castle and Cook Mortgage. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, so we've got our Facebook Live up. If you have any questions, type them in. Please interact with us. We like answering your questions. Also, if you find value in what we're presenting today, share it with everybody. Go to our YouTube pages, subscribe. There's some past ones with sound that you can actually hear. That will provide some value, and you can catch up on all our latest episodes.
That's right. So without further ado, we'll get started here. Hopefully. All right.
If you can't hear us, can't see us, please send us a message. We'll fix
give us
it.
a heads up.
I mean, particularly, I know we're just good-looking guys, and you just might want to watch us, but what we have to say is pretty important too, right?
You got it, man. So you ever wonder if you can purchase a home in the U.S.? Well, let's talk about some options that we have as a lender to try to help you out. We'll talk about types of citizenship, loan programs and basic guidelines, some different loan types, and then we'll wrap it up and recap a little bit. So the first thing, and this is long and drawn out, and I'm not going to read it for you, but Fannie Mae definition for citizenship requirements is what we have here on the first page. So that's an important one. I mean, if you have clients out there, or if you yourself may not be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, it does create some challenges from a lending standpoint, but in a lot of cases, it is something that we can work with. So there's your general definition there. Again, I won't bore you with it. And then types of citizenship. So in general, and there are some other types here, but in general, what we're dealing with on the lending side is U.S. citizen, permanent resident, non-permanent resident, alien, and non-resident alien. So these are just some different citizenship types. A lot of times, and it gets a little bit complex determining exactly which type we're working with sometimes. So from a lending standpoint, we're always trying to gather as much documentation up front as we can to help determine exactly where we are in this types of citizenship. So, driver's license, passports, visa documentation, whatever it is that we can get from you helps us to be able to determine exactly what we're working with and what program we need to go. Social security cards, I-10 cards, those kinds of things.
So that is huge. Just be upfront and open and completely transparent with all of your documentation, because we're here to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. So if you're not, so one of two deals I've ever had fall in 13 years. One of them, Social Security card being used by the son from his father. They had the same name.
Oh, yeah.
Underwriter figured it out day before closing and killed the whole deal because he wasn't.
Was he purposely doing that?
Yes,
trying to purchase home in his dad's name?
Yep, exactly. Well, both of them were. They were both. Wow. Yeah, he was letting him use it. His employer was complicit also, and so and the whole thing fell apart.
That's a heck of an underwriter right there.
Oh yeah, he figured it out because he saw the father's name was the same. They couldn't verify on taxes. So
So I would agree entirely, Jude. I mean, with anything when it comes to lending, you're not going to hide anything from the lender. Yeah. I mean, there are so many things in place for a lender to get to the bottom of directly with the federal government. In a lot of cases, a lot of the guidelines, the rules, the laws that we have to abide by are government rules and regulations. Yeah. So they've got a lot of the right things in place to prevent fraud and other things from happening. And quite frankly, if it can't be done, it can't be done. But we always want to try to help everyone to buy a home. Well, so we're going to help try to figure out the best way to get you there. But don't try to hide something because it could come up.
Right. And we're here to help. I mean, as the LO, as a real estate agent, we're here to help to make sure, and knowing stuff up front is better. And really, and we talked about this before, the underwriter's job is like a private investigator. Yeah. They want to make sure that they're going to get repaid on their loans. So they were looking at everything short of a DNA sample sometimes in order to lend you money.
Sure seems that way sometimes, yeah. All right, so next page here. So loan programs and guidelines. So these are some general guidelines that we're going to look at, some ways and some programs that we have available to help folks that may not be U.S. citizens or permanent residents. So max loan amount, max loan to value, I should say, 90%. So that would mean a 10% down payment with a credit score greater than 620. And that would be up to a $300,000 loan amount. All right. And on my next screen, I'm going to show you some variances on that particular situation, but keep that one in mind for now. Is this
Fannie?
This is not Fannie. So this is a portfolio product that we have available for ITINs. So Social Security numbers required or an ITIN number.
Okay. What's an ITIN number?
Oh, I don't know exactly what it stands for, but if you don't have, it's a tax identification, international tax identification number.
Okay.
Anyway, it's what you get if you don't have a Social Security number from the government so that they can still tax you, essentially, if you're working here in the U.S. So need 3 months reserves. So reserves are funds that you have set aside, and we could use retirement funds essentially, or just funds you have in a bank account, an investment account, whatever the case might be. And PIT, and I should have written this out, stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance for other owned properties. Okay, so if you own more than one property and you're looking to purchase another property using this program, we would need 3 months of reserves for you on principal, interest, taxes, and insurance for those other properties.
Own properties within the states, though.
Yes, not outside of the states, correct. Yep. Non-traditional credit is okay with more than 25% down and no FICO score required. So what that means is you don't necessarily have to have a credit score or traditional U.S. credit for that matter. But you're likely going to have what they call non-traditional trade lines. So it might be like a phone bill or car insurance or electric bill, something like that, where you've got your name on it. It shows that you've been making payments for a regular period of time, and that you, I guess, basically understand how to pay your bills.
Okay, and so let's be clear that this is for owner-occupied properties, not a foreign investor looking to invest in property.
Correct, yes. Okay. But we do have a program for foreign investors looking to purchase it in the U.S. as well. Okay. So that is an option. And that would need to be purchased as an investment property.
So which would change the max loan amounts, values.
It would change everything. Yeah, a lot of the things we're looking at, you're going to have to put more money down and stuff like that. So, yep. Single family residence, warrantable condos, PUDs, which is a planned unit development, and townhomes are all eligible. Owner occupied only. So you would just mention that, Jude. 30-year fixed rates. So we don't have options with this program for adjustable rate or interest only programs. Programs with no ITIN available up to $750 or $750,000. No U.S. credit needed, up to 50% debt ratio and 25% down. Designed for undocumented borrowers living in the USA, have a legitimate that are here legitimately and reporting an ITIN. Okay.
So basically, if you have no documentation, you're not getting.
But you have an ITIN, yeah. In some cases, we can even do it without the ITIN.
So basically, as long as you're reporting somehow to the governance.
And we're going to have to provide some documentation. So then is where I kind of go back to what I said before is, regardless of what the status is, we're going to need to collect some documentation from you. We have to document on some level who you are that's purchasing this home. Yeah, they love us.
3/4 of the packet, isn't it?
Exactly. So this is a continuation of the first line from the last screen. We can do 80% loan to value. And that would be an amount up to $400,000. So again, that would be 20% down payment. We could do a 30% down payment and go up to $500,000 on the loan amount, or 40% down payment and go up to $600,000 on the loan amount.
Okay.
All right. So just some basic guidelines to help sort of guide you there. Visa types. So I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but this is something you may want to take a look at as well. These are just different visa types. This is one of the portfolio lenders that we work with, Angel Oak. And so some visas are eligible, some visas are not eligible, and that's a good guide there to help you with that. Loan types. So conventional loans, talk with a lender for eligibility requirements. FHA, same thing, talk with a lender. And then most of what we've talked about today are portfolio loans, which I know we've talked about before, Jude. Mm-hmm. But that is outside of those traditional guidelines with conventional loans, with FHA. We've got lenders out there that are willing to take on the risk if you're not a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, but still make those loans.
So is there a benefit to the portfolio loan at Castle & Cook than to maybe an FHA loan?
Well, in most cases, what we've talked about today, an FHA loan probably isn't going to be an option. We're going to have to look at doing a portfolio loan.
And why is that?
And so FHA guidelines as well as conventional guidelines don't allow for it. Okay. So in most cases, and again, this is where I'm back to, we want to collect all the documentation up front so that we can see exactly what that status is. If we need to, we work directly with our underwriting team to determine what it is we can and cannot do so that we can get back to you and let you know. If we can do a conventional or an FHA loan, that is typically going to be the best loan for the borrower.
Because the rates are better?
Because rates are a little bit better. Costs are typically going to be lower. Portfolio loans are great products if you can't go the traditional routes, gotcha. But they are going to have those higher interest rates. They're going to have those higher closing costs and stuff like that associated with them. So we'll do our little recap and wrap up here, Jude. So check with your lender before deciding if you can purchase a home. There are a lot of programs out there. Which one is the right one for you? And the key here is, we see it so often, Jude. I think a lot of people try to qualify or disqualify themselves before talking with a lender or a professional. Oh, I can't buy a house because of my credit, or I can't buy a house because I don't have money set aside, or I'm not a U.S. citizen, so I can't purchase a home. Right. I would always talk to a lender first to see if there are some options out there, because we do have down payment assistance programs to help with folks that don't have a lot of money set aside. We can help, and we do have credit reporting, credit repair agencies that we work with, and that can help bring those credit scores up in some cases very quickly. There's a story I have from probably a year and a half ago now. We had a lady that came to us. We looked at her credit report. She was at, I want to say, a 560. A week later, we had her up to a 640 just by making a couple of recommendations, and she was under contract on a home.
That's
So she went from thinking she couldn't purchase a home to being under contract on a home within a week.
Right. And a lot of times lenders are just going to pull credit and go, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. We don't do that. So we like to walk through the credit report line by line in most cases with the borrower and say, look, if you do this, you do that, this might help to bring up your scores. We can't guarantee anything, but we look a lot at credit reports and can make some good suggestions. And then also there are some good credit repair companies out there that we can help you find somebody there as well if necessary.
So generally it sounds like for the most part, qualifying is very similar to an American citizen, just with a little added layer of documentation around their ability to be in the country.
Yeah.
That generally be it, which is not too arduous.
No, it's not too bad. I mean, most people know where their documentation is, so it's not typically something that's too difficult to get a hold of. And then there's more to it that goes into that, but that's the starting point. I mean, sometimes you might have a document that expires in a month or two. Well, that may not work. You know what I mean? But at least we know, and we can tell you, here's exactly what we're working with. Here's what you need to do to get to the next step.
Gotcha.
So determine what identification you will need and provide when requested. Keep your documentation updated and don't allow expiration dates to pass by. Work with the right real estate agent to find the right home once you are pre-approved. And don't decline or approve yourself. Talk with a professional every time.
Yeah, say it all the time. Call us first.
Call us first. Yeah,
we're here to help.
Almost everybody wants to buy a home. And so, the first step is figuring out what you need to do to get to that home.
Yep.
So,
exactly.
Talk with us. So, Jude, you're
Castle,
not going to be happy.
You
still
don't have.
I still haven't added it in there yet.
Can't you just?
I'll just replace.
I'm gonna
Dave's
paste
information
over Dave.
Yeah,
coming
that's
up
what
here
I'll do.
because Dave doesn't show up here, and
Dave's our branch manager.
Yeah, he's El Jefe, so he's up there. Okay, well, that's Dave's face. I'm Jude Sandval, Dream Homes with Jude.
I'm John Edwards with Castle and Cook Mortgage.
How do they get a hold of you?
And my NMLS is 671.
The compliance isn't going to just scroll to the end.
My phone number is 303.
Watch this far in your compliance.
That's probably true.
But anyway,
or any of our audience.
Or they probably. No, we've got Tony, John, Paul, Cindy, Mike, Jerry, Nelly. Hey, we got a ton of people. We're starting. 3 months.
Yeah.
Finally got audio working. We
minor details.
Getting our together finally, and maybe people will start, thinking that we know what we're talking about.
So you can get in touch with me at 303-921-5747.
And you can reach me at 720-427-1021. Again, if you found some value in listening as well as looking at our pretty faces, please like this, share this on Facebook, go to our YouTube channels and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in.